Hello and welcome back to KGC Engineering, and to, I think it's our first video this year, but to our mini project. And today I'm going to be fitting the left-hand rear wheel arch. We've got a nice new one here to go in, because the one that's in there is just a little bit too rotten to survive. So that's today's task, so let's have a look at the job and see what we need to do. Righty ho, so this is obviously the left-hand rear wheel arch that is in at the moment, and first inspection, doesn't look too bad, but we can then see, if we look in a bit more, that the whole top edge of it has just completely corroded away, so it's easier to replace it than to try and repair it. Now obviously we've got to be sort of careful getting it out, which is easy enough to do. I'm going to use my little spot weld cutter, which I showed you in a previous video, and then the other bits that I can't get to, I will just viciously attack with the angle grinder. Now, obviously, there's a few bits we need to try and keep in place, such as this little bracket here and some other bits towards the back there. But again, this view here from inside the boot shows how bad it has corroded here on the left hand side. Now I certainly need to replace this before I replace the boot floor, because as you can see the boot floor is also pretty holy, and we do have a new floor ready to go in, but I need to replace this wheel arch before I put the new floor in, because it's going to be easier to put the new floor in with the car on the rotator, and the rotator mounts right on top of there, onto the top of the damper mount there, so which is also part of the wheel arch, so that is why we're going to do the wheel arch today. So obviously I've got some bits to cut out from there, but there's also some bits from inside the car which hopefully might be easy to get to from in here, such as the back plate there for the rear seat and the side pocket there as well. So it's going to take me a little while to mark out where I need to drill and cut, but hopefully we'll be able to get on and get it all out fairly quickly. So I'll put this on time lapse and let's just see what happens. Right, well, as you can see, I've now got the old inner wing out, and we're now ready to start just doing all the tidying up, getting rid of all the extra little bits that we've had to cut around, so the last remaining bits of the spot welds and so on, to tidy it up, ready for us to start looking at getting this new one in. So I'll quickly crack on with this, and then we'll see about getting this new wheel arch in as a test fit. So yeah. Right, well, I've now finished all the grinding back in there, so it's time to see if our new wheel arch panel is going to fit. I'm sure it will, because most of the mini panels are actually pretty good fitting generally, so all being well we should be able to swing it up there, and that's looking promising already. Obviously it's a little bit difficult for you guys to see, because of the nature of where it is, but yeah, it's gone in pretty well, and I think with a little bit of adjustment and play with it, I think we'll get there quite happily. Let's get that clamp on there to hold it for a minute. Yeah, as I think we can see, well, hopefully you can see there, that it's going to go in well into the wheel arch here on the outside, so I think when I actually come to get this welded in, it's going to be, get it all clamped up as tight as we can, obviously, and then probably start getting a few tack welds in on this outer edge here, and then we can start doing the bits on the inside. Now obviously, for a fair bit of it, obviously the bottom edge is attached to the floor pan for the boot floor, so obviously I'm not going to be able to weld it to that, so I'll have to have a look where else inside we can actually weld it in place to help hold it there, apart from just on this outer edge here. I have a feeling we can probably use the back of the seat back bulkhead piece there, and that may only be it. So I may put a couple of little tack welds in against the boot floor where there's some metal left, and see how we get on. Let's just put one on there. My thinking is, if I get a few clamps on here, it's just going to allow me to go around and see how it's fitting against all the other bits. So now I've got 4 on there, let's have a little bit of a look around, shall we? Right, so that's looking pretty good in the boot area, which hopefully you can sort of see now. It's nice and tight against the old floor here, and 2 bracket pieces as well. It's fitted nicely in against those, so that's looking good and promising. We'll just need to double check and make sure that this top of the turret mount here is in exactly the right place it needs to be, so I'll need to have a couple of quick measurements to see that. Well, that's looking pretty good, so let's have a look inside at the plate here. So yeah, again, it's fitting quite well. There's a bit of wiggle room there. You can also see where I've had to cut it quite a bit to get the old one out, but yeah, that's going to go together pretty nicely there, I think. And I think as long as I get that little turret piece in just the right place, I think we're going to have a good bit of success with this. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. So I'll just double check the measurements for that and adjust as required, then we can start marking it up ready to weld, because what I'm going to do is definitely going to weld the back plate here, again, which will help tidy these little bits and pieces up here to cut through. I'll also weld it to the cubby box here, but I won't weld it to this part of the floor, because this part here is actually part of the boot floor. It goes all the way underneath. As you can see, there's a bit of a hole there, so all this will be coming out, and the new one going in, so there's no real point in me welding it here, but I will weld it in the actual boot. So yeah, I'm just going to do some measurements and see about marking it up. Right, so I've got it, our new wheel arch all prepped, and drilled the holes here on the underside for the plug welds. I felt it was best to do them there rather than trying to drill, well, one upside down for the top part here, but it's also very sort of close to the bodywork, so if I was to go drilling this way, then I've run the risk of damaging the side panel. So I thought I'll drill those bits purely, well, like I said, for ease and to avoid any further damages. So it is all in, it's all lined up now, and as you can hopefully see here in the boot, Everything is lined up nicely here with this rear bracket and the front bracket there. Sort of once it's just pressed in a bit there, it'll go in no problem. And the gap at the top up here has also closed up as well. So we've got everything in the right position. I've measured it several times, for the height and the position front to back for the damper, so we know that is in the right place. So my plan of action now is going to be to put some tack welds in on these little bracket pieces. I'm not going to do the floor because obviously we're going to be replacing the floor, and I'm also going to put some in around inside here from the bulkhead piece to the wing as well, and down here. So I'm going to get these bits welded to it, although there'll probably be tack welds, although these ones might be the full welds in. And I'm also going to put some around the arch bit here. I'm not going to do all of them because welding upside down is not pretty, and we'll have it on the rotator for the next job, so it'll be a case of, well, get it on the rotator, do all the underside welds on here. I might put some tack welds in today, and then we can look at replacing the boot floor once this is in properly and we're happy. So that's going to be the plan, and yeah, I'm just going to crack on and get it done. I suppose I'll do a little time lapse for you as well. So there we are. I've got the inner wing, wheel arch at the back, all sort of tacked in place now, and a few other, quite a good number of places. But I'm going to leave the clamps on because our next job is going to be to start bracing out inside the actual cockpit area. So we're going to need some going across side to side and front to back, and I'll try and get a diagonal in there as well to give us some rigidity. Because once I've got that in, I can then get it onto the rotator, so I can put it on its side a lot easier to get all these last few big panels done with a lot of underside welding. So this is where the rotator really does come into its own, because it will allow me to obviously get the boot floor done and the rear valance, as well as getting a lot of the other repairs finished off at the front end. For those of you've seen the other videos earlier on, there's still a few repairs to finish off up there, which it needs to be on its side so I can get to it a bit easier. So we're going to have suddenly a lot of progress again moving forwards with this, which is really good thing to do. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, do make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit the like button as well, because that does help us out a little bit. So until next time, happy classic motoring.